Today, we take a deep dive into the cast of the Parkers, then and now. A world where laughter was loud, love was messy, and every character taught us something about life, family, and chasing your dreams. 26 years have passed, and while some actors tragically died, question remains. What happened to the rest of the cast? Let's give flowers to the gorgeous 36-year-old Monique, who gave us Nikki Parker, a woman who turned her mistakes into stepping stones. Nikki was bold, black, beautiful, and unapologetically herself. She had every reason to give up: single motherhood at 15, society's judgment, and a world that mocked her body size, her weight, and her persistence. But instead, she laughed louder, walked taller, and chased her future harder. And isn't that the story of so many black women? Carrying ridicule on their backs while still showing up for everyone else. To the men, how many times have you overlooked a woman's love because it didn't look the way you thought it should? And to the kids, how many times have you taken your mother's strength for granted, thinking it was natural when it was really sacrifice? Nikki Parker showed us that second chances aren't handed out, they're fought for. And if she could walk back into college after years of being told she couldn't, then what excuse do you have for not believing in yourself? Coming in hot is 19-year-old Countess Vaughn, who gave life to Kimberly Parker. The girl with the laugh that could fill a room, and the dreams that could fill a stadium. Kim was silly, yes. Boy crazy, sure. But beneath the jokes and the antics was a young black woman carving out space for herself in a world that often demands perfection from women before they're even grown. She wasn't the smartest in the classroom, but who said GPA is the only measure of greatness? She could sing the walls down, she could light up a crowd, and sometimes that's brilliance enough. To the parents, are you guilty of measuring your children's worth only by their report cards? And back to the kids, have you ever hidden your gifts because they didn't count in school? Kim taught us that joy is intelligence too, that laughter is resilience, and that being fully yourself is a kind of genius the world can't always grade. Rest in peace to the late Yvette Wilson, who brought us 35-year-old Andell Wilkerson. The steady hand in a world that was often too loud, too messy, too overwhelming. She wasn't just Nikki Parker's best friend, she was the mirror that reminded us of our own. Haven't we all had that one person who tells us the truth, even when we don't want to hear it? That was Andell, level-headed, quick-thinking, and deeply loyal. She balanced Nikki's chaos with honesty and love. Andell showed us that friendship isn't just about laughing together. It's about pulling someone back when they're about to trip over their own dreams. She was also a black businesswoman, a restaurant owner who carved out her own lane with dignity and strength. In her, we saw the possibility of building something from the ground up, while still holding space for everyone around you. Andell was that rare kind of friend, part mentor, part sister, part sanctuary. And losing Yvette Wilson reminded us all that voices like hers, grounded and authentic, don't come often. But while she may be gone, the wisdom she gave through Andell lives on in us forever. Give it up for the handsome 36-year-old Dorien Wilson, who stepped into the shoes of Professor Stanley Oglevee. The man who thought he had it all figured out, until life and love proved him wrong. Stanley was book smart, yes, a professor with degrees, intellect, and a wardrobe full of suits to match his ego. But here's the truth: intelligence doesn't always equal wisdom. He ran from love, mistook pride for strength, and thought happiness came with control. Don't we all at some point? Dear brothers, how many times have you pushed away the one who loved you the loudest because you weren't ready to face yourself? And sisters, how many times have you watched a man hide behind his pride, hoping one day he'd see you? Stanley Ogilvie taught us that even the smartest among us can be foolish when it comes to love, and that sometimes the real degree you need is humility. Walking with style and confidence is none other but 22-year-old Stevie Van Lowe, a character who redefined what it meant to be the rich girl. Sure, she had the designer clothes, the nice car, the money that made heads turn. But what about love? What about her parents' presence, their hugs, their guidance? That's the part of Stevie's story that hits harder than any punchline. She showed us that you can live in a mansion and still feel like an orphan. And maybe that's why her friendship with Kim was so magnetic. Because for the first time, someone wasn't impressed by her money, but by her heart. Haven't we all known someone like Stevie? The one who hides pain behind strength? Who looks like they're living the dream, but silently wishes for family over fortune. Stevie reminded us that friendship can become family, and that wealth without love is poverty in disguise. Say hello to Ken Lawson, who perfectly became Thaddius Radcliffe, the 23-year-old smooth talker, with the kind of charm that could light up any room. On the surface, he was the ladies' man and the aspiring rapper with confidence for days. But wasn't there always more to T than the jokes and the flirtation? Behind the swagger lived a young man chasing a dream that didn't come with a guarantee. Haven't we all known that feeling? Wanting something so badly, but not knowing if the world will ever give it back to us? T's rhymes weren't just words. They were pieces of his heart, a window into his ambition and struggle. And yet, he never let his hustle steal his softness. He was loyal, steady, and present, the kind of friend you knew you could call when everything else fell apart. His story made it clear that chasing success doesn't mean you can't also carry love, loyalty, and laughter in your back pocket. T showed us that sometimes the dreamers, the ones with their heads in the clouds, are the same ones who ground us most in real life. Celebrating the life of the late Thomas Mikal Ford as Mel Parker, Nikki Parker's 35-year-old rich ex-husband and the father of Kim Parker. Mel wasn't just a man of means, he was a man of intention. He may not have always understood Nikki's fire or Kim's big dreams, but his heart was always in the right place. Isn't that the truth about so many fathers? Trying to give the best they can, even when their efforts don't always land the way they hoped? Mel, the successful insurance salesman, became a symbol of balance, the calm in the storm of Nikki's boldness and Kim's youthful energy. He wasn't flawless. Sometimes he was awkward. Sometimes he was hilariously out of touch. But his steady presence reminded us of the quiet fathers. The ones who may not always say "I love you" out loud, but who show up, time and again. Thomas Mikal Ford breathed life into Mel. And though his passing marked the end of his own story, it wasn't the end of him. Because the depth with which he portrayed a father and husband left a lasting echo, a legacy that continues to resonate. Put your hands together for Steve Harvey as Mr. Barnes. A role small in screen time, but rich in impact. At 46 years old, Steve carried into the scene what only he can: unshakable presence, humor, and that unmistakable confidence that fills every space he enters. The situation was heavy, a bank robbery, lives on the line, fear pressing down like a weight. Yet, with Mr. Barnes, we saw how humor isn't about ignoring pain, but about surviving it. How many of us have been in rooms where tension felt suffocating, and all it took was one person with the right words to shift the air? That's what Steve delivered. His timing wasn't just comedic, it was healing, making the unbearable feel manageable. Through Mr. Barnes, we realized that strength doesn't always come in the form of aggression. Sometimes it's the person who keeps their cool and who sees light in the dark that saves the day. Clear the stage for Kim Whitley as Gertie Low, the 40-year-old woman who taught us that sometimes jealousy speaks louder than truth. Gertie was more than just the church organ player. She was the thorn in Nikki's side, the rival who made every choir rehearsal feel like a battlefield. But if we look closer, wasn't her jealousy just a mask for longing? Haven't we all wanted to be seen, to be chosen, to be loved in the way someone else effortlessly was? That was Gertie's ache. Her rivalry with Nique wasn't just about choir solos or titles. It was about feeling overlooked, about chasing validation from Professor Ogulvie, even when the world knew it wasn't hers to claim. She was petty, yes. She was confrontational, absolutely. But she was also human. And if we're honest, we've all had Gertie moments, wanting so badly to matter that we lash out at those who already shine. Kim Whitley played her with such hilarious bite that you couldn't help but love the hater, even while shaking your head. Gertie made us realize that behind envy often hides an unhealed heart. And maybe that's why her presence was so outstanding. Allow me to present Trent Cameron as Jerel Goodrich. In Kim's world, he wasn't just her partner. He was her anchor, her dream, her heartbreak. At 21, Trent Cameron brought authenticity to Jerel, making his path as Kim's boyfriend, fiancé, and ultimately ex-husband resonate far beyond the screen. Their relationship captured the pure magic of falling in love. The joy, the laughter, the unshakable belief that this time, it's forever. But life rarely follows the script of a fairy tale. Jerel and Kim's love story unraveled with the kind of pain that feels too familiar. The arguments, the misunderstandings, the moments when two hearts beat in different directions. Haven't we all stood at that crossroad? Torn between holding on and letting go? Jerel's story was romantic, yes, but also brutally real. He showed us that sometimes love isn't enough, and yet the memories of it never leave. That's why Jerel remains unforgettable, because his story was ours too. Joining us today is Adam Lazarre-White, who at 32 years old brought to life the easygoing and dependable Kenny Davis. Kenny may not have been at the center of every storyline, but he had a gift of making the group feel whole. Adam's portrayal was rooted in sincerity. He gave audiences a character who felt like someone they already knew. The way he engaged in conversations, shared the spotlight, and added comedic rhythm to scenes showed a deep understanding of ensemble acting. Kenny's presence wasn't just filler. He represented the kind of friend who makes every memory richer. Adam's natural charisma allowed Kenny to blend seamlessly into the fabric of the show, while still leaving a lasting impression. Viewers saw more than just a supporting figure. They saw a reminder of friendship, loyalty, and connection. Adam Lazarre-White didn't just play Kenny Davis, he elevated him, proving that every role, no matter the size, can carry weight and meaning when performed with truth and heart. All eyes on Paulette Braxton as Veronica Cooper, just 34 years old when she stepped into the role of the stylish, confident rival who could silence a room with one glance. Veronica wasn't simply Professor Ogilvie's on and off girlfriend. She was the reminder that love is never fair or predictable. She wore her confidence like armor, polished and radiant, always ready to spar with Nikki Parker. But isn't that the truth about so many of us? We project strength, we radiate assurance, yet deep down, we're asking the same quiet question. Am I truly enough? Paulette brought that duality to life, giving Veronica a balance of sass and vulnerability. She wasn't just Nikki's competition. She was a mirror for the insecurities that live in all of us. Veronica's presence forced the audience to look at love not as a fairy tale, but as a battlefield where pride, passion, and longing collide. Paulette Braxton gave us a character that was more than a rival. She was a reflection of our own struggles to be chosen, to be loved, to be seen. We've reached the end of the journey through the Parkers' 1999 cast then and now 2025. This black sitcom gave us laughter, messy love, and life lessons we still remember. We talked about some of the Parkers actors who passed away, while others went through shocking transformations and surprising glow-ups, leaving fans amazed. Which story surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. Revisit the laughs in the Parkers' full episodes, catch up with everyone in the Parkers cast now, and relive the nostalgia of moesha 1996. This was the Parkers cast then and now 2025. Until next time, keep smiling, keep reminiscing, and keep these memories alive.